What's happening, friends? Welcome to this live edition of Syracuse Sports. It's Syracuse football signing day and so much more. You got Brent Axe, you got Javon Edmonds, you got Chris Carlson, the crew that covers Syracuse football here with you on a big day. Signing day is never free of drama. We certainly had some drama today. Did Fran Brown lose his top-rated recruit today is the big question that we will discuss. We will look at the class itself. There were some coaching changes made this week on the Syracuse football staff, which Fran Brown addressed for the first time today, and some interesting news that came in the commit world earlier this week as a 25-year-old rap star is going to pursue his dream of playing college football, and he's going to do it at Syracuse. So, boys, we've got a lot to hop into here, so why don't we jump right in and start with the news of Calvin Russell today. So let's recap. Calvin Russell, Syracuse's highest-rated commit since 2001. He is a five-star prospect from Miami Northwestern, made a huge commitment announcement at his birthday back in July. Major score for Syracuse football. He is the gem, the star, the guy of this class. So today at the Miami Northwestern signing ceremony, Calvin Russell announces that he is not going to sign today. He flashes the sign, the universal sign of the U, right? He's in Miami, goes to a lot of Miami games. He's got Malachi Tony, a friend of his, on that roster. Miami has certainly pursued him. His parents went to Miami. There's a lot of connections there. His agent, and I'm going to put this on the screen here, puts out a statement that he has decided to push back signing this morning as he needed a little more time to pray on the final decision. He notes he absolutely loves Fran Brown and is committed to Syracuse football, but he just wants to make sure he's 100% certain with this decision before signing by the end of the day on Friday. Calvin tells Marcus Benjamin of Rivals that Florida State, Miami, and Florida have been pursuing him hard the past couple of days leading up to signing day, which is partially why I reconsidered where he's going to go. There are some reporters that cover Miami closely that are saying that Miami's not in play for Calvin Russell. They just brought in a star-studded wide receiver class. Michigan could be in play, and a partridge in a pear tree. Javon, I turn to you first on the Calvin Russell drama and where we're at with Syracuse's top-rated verbal commitment, who was not, as of yet, signed on the dotted line.
Yes, I've been told for months, including today, that Calvin's mom does not want him to stay in Miami, and also that they just aren't. No one's sure he would be a take at Miami right now because of that receiver class that they brought in, that you just said, and that you just mentioned, and they're deep at receiver as is. So out of all, I guess we'll say 5 teams on that list, the 3 Florida schools, Syracuse and Michigan, Miami is definitely last place. To hear Florida and Florida State was interesting to me. I was saying this to Chris back at the office. If he chooses Florida State, Tadarius Hughes is going to be pissed. And so is Cameron Wilson. 2 coveted guys in this class for Syracuse that chose the Orange directly over Florida State. Calvin Russell chooses to go play for Mike Norvell. Those 2, human nature just says they are going to be heated. After the season that Florida had, I get it. New head coach and John Summerall, who I love what he's done at Tulane and in the American Conference. But I mean, hey, last time the Gators hired a superstar from the group of 6 that just could do no wrong, they wound up looking for a new head coach that got to this one. So I'm a little surprised by that one. So I don't know. I think it might just be down to Syracuse and Michigan. Anytime something like this happens these days and it's a 5-star receiver, you know, an agent can come out and say he's going to pray on it and all that stuff all you want. My first thought goes to money. Is there a bidding war in place? Are there some offers being finalized? As Chris noted earlier, he's got until Friday for this early national signing window. And if he doesn't sign, then he'll have to wait till February. He just won't be able to be on campus. And Fran has said for the last 2 weeks, he wants his roster on campus by January 10th. So it seems like it's Friday or nothing for Syracuse, but maybe Fran makes an exception for the crown jewel of what was supposed to be his best recruiting class ever. Well, Syracuse's best recruiting class ever.
Chris, you asked Fran about this today, and we had to ask gingerly because technically he can't talk about players that are not signed. So we're going to play that clip here shortly. But you and I have seen a lot of drama on signing day over the years. Lenora Sellers was a big right up against the deadline flip who ended up at South Carolina. These things happen. But as Javon noted there, in the NIL era and negotiations going on, Fran actually shares an NIL agency with Calvin Russell, that agent that we noted that put out that statement here. I guess this is the new normal, right? Until they get over the finish line here, you have to just kind of sit and wait. And I guess, will he be worth the wait? If Friday comes, he prays on it, he sits on it, maybe the offer is sweetened a little bit, and Syracuse lands Calvin Russell, is it worth all the drama?
I mean, you have to think so, right? I mean, I think this is just Fran wants to win ACC championships and national championships here, and you can't do that without the most coveted athletes in the country. And they are going to be the guys that teams like Michigan or Miami throw bags at late and try to, woo them away with a big offer. I just think it's like the reality of if you want those guys, you have to be willing to deal with this and the fact that it comes with it. I certainly think there are some concerns for how all this has gone. But I don't know. It's also, you don't want to judge a 17 or an 18-year-old in this situation, right? Like, how would I have handled it when I was that age? Probably not great. But I don't know. I don't know what to think about Calvin Russell as he emerges from all this, because he did say 2 weeks ago his recruitment was done, like
yes.
done, and then 2 weeks later, apparently it is not done. So,
hey Chris, I'll add on to that. Back in July, his agent told me that Calvin's mom, and himself, the agent, all agreed that the recruitment would be shut down immediately. So this isn't just a 2 week thing. We are in December, right? This is coming up on 5 months of your position has been, Syracuse, no one else is a thought. December 3rd, I'm signing. So,
the obvious thing that's changed, though, is Syracuse went 3-9. They went through a quarterback issue. They went through a wide receiver coach change, and you've got up until things happen at deadlines, right? And it used to be the biggest drama on signing day was which hat on the table was the player going to choose. Now you've got money involved, and they've got leverage, and they know it. They've got agents. Things are so much different even on the high school end of this in just the last 2 or 3 years. So I get what you're saying, and when you say those things publicly, I think even the most skeptical fan that's been through this still will say, well, I'm going to take your word on that. Syracuse also had a commit today in Tyrell Grant, who was 1,000% in and flipped to Virginia Tech when James Franklin.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. That wasn't in July. That was 2 days ago, right? So we all understand how crazy of a process it is, but you still kind of have to look at it and be like, come on, man, don't say that. It's fine if you're undecided and you're weighing all your options, and it's a big decision. Everybody understands that. But the more you say, my recruitment is shut down and I'm 1,000% in, I know they're 17-year-old kids, but they're savvy 17-year-old kids that know what they're dealing with and have agents, and things are a little different now. It just kind of rubs people the wrong way. So as noted, Chris, you asked Fran about this today. Let's play that clip.
It's the nature of the business. It's where we are right now. Final hours, a lot of things happen in different pieces of it. But I have complete confidence. I'm really good at recruiting, but I'm also great at building relationships. And I got faith in that Block S. Right? I got faith in the S. Now we can't, there's a lot of places in Florida that you can go and get a good education and be in school also. But I got faith in the S, and I got faith in myself and our staff, and continuously work, right? and I work my.
So my fault that clip's breaking up a little bit there, but he said he's got faith in the S. He's got faith in himself. He's a good recruiter. He feels like they're going to sprint over the finish line with this thing, and he has confidence that they're – now he can't specifically talk about Russell because he's not signed, but Chris, you made a good point in asking the question, though. You know, Fran, you're always confident in yourself. Are you confident you're going to get this individual? And, you know, Fran thinks when Friday comes, he's still going to be a Syracuse commit. And I guess if he is, then it's all worth it. But for now, we wait.
I think
I was a little surprised.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was a little confident he expressed as much confidence as he did, like given sort of the late change of mind. Like it would be very easy to be like, you know, teams are coming over the top, and I don't know, you know, if he was feeling, you know, leery, if he was feeling negative about it, it would be really easy to just say, hey, man, like teams are making pretty big offers, and then that's the world. But he expressed confidence, so. I don't know. I was a little surprised that he was as confident as he was. I know you always probably want to exude confidence, but you could have started to like soften the landing spot a little bit if you were expecting bad news, and he didn't do that.
Javon, you brought up Cameron Wilson and Tadarius Hughes, Boobie Johnson, who is currently on the Syracuse roster, who's from Miami Northwestern. He put out the shrug emoji today. Even he doesn't know what's going on. So this does affect other people that were kind of in that circle and hoping that Russell will show up at Syracuse. Maybe he still will. We'll see what the reflections and the praying and everything brings. And certainly the answer to all your questions is money. Maybe there's more money on the table. Syracuse has to get more money. We'll see. Like this is college football. We've seen, if anything, there's no normal in college football. The normal is the chaos. Look at Lane Kiffin and everything that we've been talking about this past week. And so we're about to talk about with a recent commit for this Syracuse football program. So that's Russell. We're kind of doing the math on this to figure out whether it would still be Syracuse's highest rated class if he does decommit. Even if he does, Javon, it's still one of their highest rated classes since they really started ramping the recruiting rankings up around, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. So aside from Russell, when you look at this class, what pops? Where are the big wins for Syracuse?
I think building in the trenches is what impresses me about this class in terms of Fran wants to be big up front. And we know they need help at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. If these guys playing out, then Fran may have just addressed that in this class. Alex Haskell was a guy that James Franklin wanted badly at Penn State and had landed, and then things started going down south in Happy Valley, and Syracuse ended up with him. Versatile guy that Fran thinks can play inside and out on the edge. You wound up with two pure defensive ends in Jarius Rogers and Cameron Wilson. And then just shoring yourself up. Walt Frazier's going to just eat up blocks on the inside as a defensive tackle. JoJo White, you can't teach 6'5" on the offensive line. Now, he's only 260 right now, but if there's one thing we know Syracuse is going to be able to do is put some weight on the kid. Javion Cooper down there in Florida, offensive tackle, 6'4", 295. So you don't have to do too much work to get him caught up to speed. Corday Houston, 6'3", 265. So you can figure out where you want to put him on the defensive line. Tamaj Henry, listen to this one, Chris. 6'8", 330 pounds.
Okay.
I don't know what's in the water or in the food these days. He's out of Chester, Pennsylvania, so you know he's not soft. Maybe that's a product of the food that they have in Chester, Pennsylvania at the high school, because it's just not the prettiest place on earth. Braden Charney, 6'6", 285. You won't have to do too much work with him. So you got big and you got athletic, which is something Fran wants. And one thing we have been saying for the last few weeks about Syracuse's offensive line is it may be big. Fran got that part right, but it wasn't athletic. And Fran admitted that today. It's like, I need these guys to get lean and I need these guys to get fast. It doesn't matter if you have big people up front if they can't move. Because if they can't move anyone. So I think the big thing with this class was they did what they needed to in the trenches. And they've got their special teamers of the future, and Shea Barker at kicker, Jimmy Gregg at punter, and apparently Amari Guff is going to have a chance to be a return man.
Yeah, Jimmy Craig's who Fran mentioned today has a lot of swag, is the number one punter in the class, which is good to know because you're replacing Jack Stonehouse, who's rated as one of the best punters in the country, all ACC, and Punter U adds another one to the list of recent great punters to come through Syracuse. Chris, you went down to Florida a couple weeks ago to cover the Miami game and spent some time with Cameron Wilson. I want to circle back on him a little bit and your impressions of talking to him, and does he believe he's going to get on the field right away? And there was a little bit of drama there in the last couple of weeks because Florida State was coming in hard. He actually did commit to his commitment, saying that I'm committed, I'm in, I've shut down my recruitment, and he did sign on the dotted line today.
Yeah, Cameron was one of the things that he said the Miami guys like, and Darius Johnson said this too. It's funny you mentioned that because he was Calvin's biggest voucher, just saying everybody chill, it's gonna happen, and he's probably not
still
too
might,
thrilled.
by the way, still might,
But he's probably not too thrilled with his old teammate right now. But Cameron is light. He needs to put on weight if he's going to play sort of on the edge next season in any sort of really meaningful way. The coaches have told him that. He knows that. He says he really likes the weight room. I mean, he does have a great frame, like long-term, projectable, like long, like looks like a basketball player almost. But like he's going to have to put on weight if he's going to make a difference outside of maybe speed rushing, around the edge as a freshman. It's just the lines are a tough place for guys to have impacts their first year. So he thinks he's going to play. Is he going to be a force as a true freshman? I don't think so, but can he help? Probably. Like, I think he's part of the rotation. And while Elijah Robinson isn't the defensive coordinator now, he is the defensive line coach. And so his philosophy of rotating guys, seems like it'll probably hold. And Cameron probably, has a place in that. So I don't know if that's what folks want to hear. It's certainly nicer to hear that you've got a guy who's going to come in and be a destroyer your first year. I think it'll help, but I think it'll take time for him to get to a level where he's really, really good.
And that's not exclusive to Wilson either. Cam's 210, Jarius Rogers 215. So both of their defensive ends from this class, they've got to put some muscle on. So I think that is one concern. Although I did say I like what they did in the trenches. That is a concern. Your edge guys have to bulk up just a little bit. Get up at least to 235.
But we all think they're going to hit the portal too, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
They are going to buy those guys time by going in the portal.
Which is the next thing to come, as Fran even hinted at today, when we haven't seen a lot of names enter the portal from a Syracuse standpoint yet. Maybe they were waiting until after signing day. There's meetings going on today and Thursday with individual players. I think you'll start seeing a lot more names in the portal after that. And it's not an apples to apples comparison, but people were all fired up about King Joseph Edwards a year ago as one of the higher rated signings Syracuse had. And you just never know until they get on campus and they're a part of a college football program, and they're how are they coached, and they're, like you said, their weight and everything. So we got to see how that all pans out here. Ratings is certainly not everything. You did touch on it, Chris. Go ahead, Javon.
Yeah, speaking of King Joseph Edwards, that's a JUCO guy that Syracuse expressed some interest in getting back this season. For 2026. Nothing from him today, so something to keep your eye on. I'm glad you brought him up, Brent.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. And again, signing period is not over. This is the early signing period. It's for the next few days. They still have the traditional signing day in February, though Fran said, as you guys noted, he wants everybody on campus. January 10th, 2026 season starts then. But good reminder to keep an eye on that. Let's transition to the coaching changes this week. Fran's first opportunity to talk about that. We had talked about it on the pod a bunch coming down the stretch of the season. One thing that I said after the game on Saturday, the Boston College game to close the season, Javon, was Elijah Robinson could not come back with the title of defensive coordinator. I think we are all under the impression that Fran was not going to fire Elijah Robinson. The reassignment happens. He's now defensive line coach, assistant coach, his associate head coach is the title. Fran saying today that, he wants him consulting him and everything, but he is on the hunt for a new defensive coordinator. Will Muschamp was a name we all kind of bandied about. He's been around the program. He is friends with Fran Brown. Syracuse recruited his son, who is now a quarterback on the roster at Vanderbilt. Fran saying today Muschamp is enjoying his time away from the game. He'll be around the program again as somewhat of a consultant, but will not be the guy, right? So let's start there at defensive coordinator. When you have the 128th rated scoring defense, last in the Power Four, you're the second worst defense overall in the Power Four. Robinson could not stay in that title, but what do you think about him staying on the staff?
Elijah made his name as the defensive tackles coach. He's known as he came to Syracuse as one of the better ones in the country. Sometimes you're just not ready to handle the full defense, right? And the full play calling responsibilities. I think Fran saying he's going to be assistant head coach and kind of help him with the organizational stuff. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's a 100% demotion more than a relocation. It's like, hey, you can't be in charge of my defense anymore, but you can come help me out with some more of my day-to-day duties. And then, once we get to practice, just worry about the defensive line. I'll get someone else to run the whole defense. So I think it might be a win-win for both parties. Like, Fran doesn't have to fire his best friend and gets to get a better defensive coordinator in there. And Robinson gets to stay on staff and not have to look bad at a position he wasn't ready for anymore, while still doing things that, to be honest, can keep him in the mix for a group of 6 head coaching job one day. If he is going to be more involved in full, organization-wide happenings. So I think everyone got what they wanted out of the situation.
Chris, we are going to miss Dale Williams, our guy, offensive line coach at Syracuse. Always great to talk to. Always very upfront, full of information, fun guy. Always had a couple great lines when we talked to him. Robert Wright, linebackers, Joe Schaefer, defensive back. The one that surprised me, though, of those 3 names, frankly, I could see why Fran made that change. It appeared special teams certainly improved from year to year. James Villano last year. Ricky Brumfield comes in. I think special teams kind of streamlined, was fine. Trip Woody, great kicker. I think the coverage was better. The penalties went down. We mentioned Stonehouse, one of the better punters in the country. But Fran said today basically that he cited the D and dart details in special teams. I don't know if we got frankly a good explanation about why he moved on from Brumfield, so that one surprised me. But of the coaching changes made there and the volume of them, and maybe there's more to come. You never know with what could happen with Nunzio Campanelli and Michael Johnson Jr. and is Jeff Nixon going to get offers in the offseason? We might not be done with this coaching cycle here. But Chris, what's been your observation there of the coaching changes Fran made, and will it satisfy the changes that were needed on this program based on how things panned out with a 3-9 year?
I agree with you that Ricky was the most surprising, just because there were moments like he was involved in what I think was like the moment of the season, right? In a positive way, which was that onside kick call at Clemson,
right?
Which really set the tone. And Fran credited him with spotting whatever it was, that made that possible. But his unit did get worse. Right, like at the end of the season, we had the punt return against Pitt, and we had the blocked punt against Notre Dame. BC got in and deflected a punt, so it didn't seem like there was improvement there. So I could argue that one on both ways. I think so. I bow to Fran's judgment in terms of what needed to be done, with special teams. It is totally dependent on who you replace the guys with, right? I mean, you can say decisions are necessary and great, but you got to go out and find the better guy. So, that is going to be the key question. I do agree with Javon though on Elijah, like defensive line. He was widely regarded as doing a great job at multiple places there. He's proven he can do that job. I know Syracuse fans are dissatisfied with him as a defensive coordinator, but he's qualified to be the defensive line coach. I don't think that there's any sort of doubt about that. The only worry would be if if the coaches that are axed and some of the other coaches on the staff feel any sort of way about it, right? That, hey, this guy didn't hold his weight and you're letting him hang around while you're chopping the heads off my buddies. That would be the only worry. But I think Elijah, I think his resume says that he's capable of doing that job.
We'll see if the special teams coordinator becomes the new defense against the dark arts teacher on the Syracuse football staff.
Every year.
Every year it changes, right? So far that's been the case through 2 years. All right, gentlemen. Very interesting headline came out this week. He was not announced today as a commitment because he's technically not a scholarship player. So it looks like he's going to be a preferred walk-on, and that is a 25-year-old prospect coming in. He's actually a Syracuse native. Kind of a fun story here. He's become a successful rapper, 3.6 million followers on Spotify. Javon, Grandpa's going to lean on you for this a little bit. I had not heard of Toosii until I saw a story earlier this week that he committed to Syracuse football. What do we know about Toosii as a football player, as a rapper, as everything in between, and why exactly he is going to be on the Syracuse football roster coming up?
How can I put this? So my brother played Division II football. I'm good friends with a lot of his old high school teammates. That was the discussion of the Xbox party about 2 nights ago. And these guys watched film, including a former Delaware State corner. So guys who actually stuck to football and didn't go in and out of practice and a whole bunch of stuff like that when they were in high school. At 5'9", for him to be that slow. And the receivers and corners that looked at that film. Good publicity stunt, maybe, I guess. I don't know. You got a halftime show performer. But this is just more so. Speaking of the issues in college sports, why are we allowing a 25-year-old freshman?
Another great question. Yes.
Come on, man. LinkedIn, Indeed, job boards. What are we doing? Or just sticking to the charts? I don't understand it. And
we're getting into necessary roughness territory. If you remember that great movie from was that the early 90s that came out? Scott Bakula, 34-year-old quarterback for Texas State.
It's just, I think of it on the optics side. I don't think you can do something like this after a 3-9 season. I really don't. And I look at the 3 schools that really had the most interest in them. Sacramento State, Syracuse, and Maryland. Let's think about this. The folks in my home state want Mike Loxley's head on a silver platter right now. Syracuse just had a historically bad 8-game losing streak to finish the season. And Sacramento State is doing any and everything it can to get some type of attention and get a call up to either the Pac-12 or the Mountain West. So, it's just bad optics all around. I don't know who's going to enjoy it. My little brother's 15. He's part of the TikTok generation. He's not even excited about this one. That lets me know when he's not gassing something up, there's trouble in paradise. So hey, chase your dreams, whatever, but not my cup of tea.
Chris, we're the older guys in the room, I'll say. And I'm trying to be fair about this. I'm trying to look at it from that perspective. But to hear Javon say that even the TikTok generation, even my daughter, who's 19, sent me that. It's like, what's going on with this? Right? So the answer to all your questions is money, right? Is there an NIL angle here? Is there a money angle? Is there something he brings to the table that goes beyond football? That has to be the answer, because you're not doing this to make your football team better. And while there's 20 guys on a roster that stand there with their helmet in their hand at every game and are never going to get in, while the basketball team has the son of a booster on the roster who is clearly not a Division I basketball talent. This stuff happens. So I guess instead of Adam Weitzman putting celebrities courtside, we're just putting them on rosters now. Just skip the middleman, put them right on the roster and reaping the benefits of it, I guess.
I think that is it, right? And it's just, there's Syracuse, we think, is 85 scholarships in football. There's 105 roster spots. So you're going to have 20 walk-ons who don't play a major role in terms of in-game stuff. So if you have a plan, whatever that plan is in terms of financially capitalizing on Toosii, whether it's NIL opportunities for your players, whether you think that he's some sort of positive influence, whether he brings in, a different part of the Syracuse community that has been turned off by the university over the years. If you can reconnect with a part of our community via Toosii, those are all things that might be more valuable than one walk-on player and his contributions in practice. But I don't know what the plan is, and I am eager to see what the plan is, because there does need to be a plan for you to do this, and I do not know what it is.
Brent, you got to sell it to the public. Yeah.
To get at something you were asking, he did say on the I Am Next podcast that whatever school takes him is getting a booster because he's going to donate to them once he's done there. So good long-term angle for Fran. A good show of confidence that he thinks he's going to be there for a while. Unless this is just a one-year thing for Toosii, and then it's not really that long-term.
Yeah, if you can't hang, you can't just keep him on. I don't care if he's the 105th guy in the roster. If he can't hang, you can't keep him on the field.
That's where I'm getting at. We're talking about a 25-year-old.
Maybe he's just happy. Maybe he's just hey, I did it, man. Cool.
But you got.
There's a lot of 25-year-old dudes out there that think they could still play football, but they don't have 3.6 million followers on Spotify. So it's just you
got to open up your Twitter and look at how many JUCO and D2 kids are complaining about this, and you say they have valid arguments. Man, we over here really putting in that work, and this is what we're doing in college football now. Come on. North Philly's been pissed at Temple for decades. I don't see them having Meek Mill or Wallow or Gilly the Kid on the basketball roster. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't. Long-term play for NIL maybe, but I'm thinking of practice, as you guys were alluding to, and are you really going to waste somebody's rep every day in practice with this guy? Who's getting better lining up against him? How much time are you shaving off of what could be productive 2-hour practice sessions every week? You know what I mean? Is he going to get that much faster from winter workouts? Is his footwork going to change that dramatically between now and August? It's you going to send him to Troy James for the summer, down there with Yasin Willis, and hope that does something for you? I don't know. It's just.
And I'm gonna boost your argument, Javon, even though I'm the one who's maybe the most open-minded about this whole thing. But I talked to his high school coach last night, and he did not play his senior year. He was into music, and his junior year he could not remember if he got on the field during a varsity game. So that is it tells you something about where he was at and what type of prospect we were talking about. And he was, he was 5'6", 140 in high school, and the high school coach was trying really hard to say not negative things. And he's just, maybe he had a growth spurt, So
which goes back to what you originally said, Chris. What's the plan here? Because we didn't ask Fran about it today because he's technically not a commit, and there's probably not a lot he could say about this till he's on campus.
We could have tried.
We could have tried the Calvin Russell angle there, but what's the plan here? Don't sell me that he's helping your football team on the field, right? If you could sell me he's helping the program. You can sell me on that. And I'm trying to be open-minded here. Things are different in 2025 into 26 and original ideas. And like last night, basketball team beats Tennessee. The kids rush the court. Older fans grumbling, you don't rush the floor against a team like this. It's but they don't know any better. They weren't around.
Yeah, that was
when
justified last night. Yeah, come on. The team's been
Right,
down for the last few years.
So that's what I'm trying to think. The old man's trying to think. Put yourself in the mind frame of an 18 to 23-year-old and what they think about this. But you touched on it, Javon. Even the TikTok generation is kind of looking at this like, okay, well, let's see how that pans out. We all know by some stretch of the imagination, that's not the right way to put it. We know in some way this is a stunt, right? And they know it's a stunt. But the thing is, and I made the Weitzman joke, but this is where I think you could make a direct comparison. The argument with the Weitzman thing was always, what were the direct results of this? Of having Josh Allen courtside, of having Giannis Antetokounmpo courtside. What were the direct benefits to Syracuse basketball that resulted in these people being here other than your Instagram following, right? So what is the direct benefit Syracuse football going to be having Toosii around the program? That's the question. What's the plan?
Are you going to have is Universal Music Group going to invest money into Syracuse football? Hell no. I've got nothing else on this one. I'm trying not to get myself in trouble.
Okay, well, we'll see how it pans out. Again, trying to keep an open mind here, but you just can't do things to get 20 minutes of attention on social media because the people then they look at it, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then they scroll to the next thing.
It wasn't good attention. It was not good attention.
That's the other thing. The old any PR is good PR theory does not apply in all situations. So,
and I do think Javon, to Javon's point too, like it is. It looks worse coming off the 3-9 season when you didn't really resemble a football team at the end of the year, and then you're doing things that don't resemble a football team in terms of who you're offering.
That's the problem.
It creates a lot of skepticism about what you're doing.
Last year, you could probably sweep it by and be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, put them on the roster. They won 10 games. Didn't you see this? Now it's like, come on. It's every move you make publicly should be in the guise of we're making this football team better. And this does not pass that sniff test at all.
He's got his own crap to deal with down in Happy Valley right now. But somewhere, Pat Kraft is pointing at his phone and saying, see, I told you.
There you go. Gentlemen, great job. Javon and Chris were the smoke were coming off their fingers all day, keeping you updated on everything happening. With signing day, we still have more coverage to come. We're on Calvin Russell watch for the next couple of days. He will sign on Friday. I did put it. I just will take a little credit for this, putting it in our group chat today that this guy's going to draw this out and be the last one to commit. And boy, did he draw that out and be the last one to commit. So the next Calvin Russell's show to come on Friday. We'll keep you updated on everything that's happening in the portal. When those names start coming in, there's 4 coaching slots that have to be filled, and we're going to be all over that. So what off season? Doesn't exist. A lot of things happening on the Syracuse football front. We'll keep you updated here. We'll keep you updated on the Syracuse Sports Insider text line. Sign up today to be a Syracuse Sports Insider, or you can text me directly anytime with your thoughts, questions, opinions on all things Syracuse sports. It's just $3.99 a month to be a Syracuse Sports Insider, the perfect stocking stuffer, and you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's going to do it for this live edition of Syracuse Sports. For Javon Edmonds, for Chris Carlson, I'm Brent Axe. Thanks for hanging, guys. We'll talk to you next time here.